Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Amplify Your Business. My name is Lance Johnson, and today's guest is going to talk to us about all things tasty. So this is a great entrepreneurial story about somebody who's taken an ancient recipe, basically, combined it with some great Alberta or Canadian-based ingredients, and is making some incredible products that are being distributed across Canada now. And so on today's show, I have Nada from Mother May I Bake. Nada, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So Nada, how about you tell us a little bit about your backstory? How did Mother May I Bake come about? And by the way, I absolutely love that name. I think it's so cute. I think it's really great. And it describes you basically, right? Because I would imagine with the kids that you've got, you're in the kitchen with them a lot. And so that's probably where that name came from, but we didn't actually discuss that. So maybe start there. How did the name come about?
You bet. So yes, I do live in my kitchen. I love that part. It's busy, but it's fun. So Mother May after having my kids, I wanted to get into the food business. I knew how much I would be cooking. So thought we'll do it and we'll do it for a living. Thinking of names, I had so many to go through and we are just sitting around. And I was texting my neighbor too, actually. I think she was maybe 8 years old at the time. And we're putting names back and forth. And we just came up with Mother May I Bake. I loved it. As soon as I loved it, I checked right away if website's available, if I can use it on Instagram. And actually that same day I did, Mother May I Bake. And as much as I love that name, we almost nicknamed it now. So Mother May I. But we fell in love with the name. It's fitting. It has the mother roll to it. Yeah, we love it. It's still going strong. So
it's very nurturing, obviously, in the nature of it. The branding that you've used on it is really great as well. I think it comes across as just a really nice, beautiful, warm brand. And with all the recipes that you're developing, it just ties in really, really nicely. So let's go back to, I guess, those early days when you were thinking about starting a business. You wanted to do something with food. What is it that, I guess, inspired you to start with a food-based business?
All my inspiration comes from my kids, and they eat quite a bit, and we like to make the whole eating not just good food but healthy food, right? Healthy food, colorful, variety. To be honest, I had zero kitchen experience before all this, so it was a lot to learn from scratch. But when I first became a mom, I had to feed my baby. So I remember walking over to the grocery store, and I'll never forget this. And I picked up a container of hummus. And I was reading all the ingredients on it, and there was like over 12 ingredients. I could only pronounce 2 of them. And basically, I put the pack down, I turned around, and I walked home. I didn't want to, I had to feed them something good, nothing I couldn't pronounce. So that's when I started playing around with my own foods and kind of went back to my traditional roots. That's what I put together my first dish of hummus.
Wait, and so speaking of the traditional roots, so you're Lebanese, right?
Lebanese background, yes.
Yeah, and so then the recipe that you came up with for your first hummus dates back generations then, correct, to an ancient recipe from your family?
Yeah, I was never active in the kitchen, but I always watched. So a lot of trips back home, back in Lebanon, where everything is grown basically in your backyard. You pick up a lot of fresh ingredients and everything's made there from scratch. It's pretty cool. It's definitely tasty, and it's just delicious. So I kind of picked and choose some of my favorites there. Like basically, if I tell you a day in Lebanon, you'd wake up, you can walk downstairs to the local bakery, which is maybe like a minute walk, and they'd have a fresh oven. They'd make their fresh dough, put it in. All their toppings are made fresh. Like it was quite the experience. I love that, and I craved it a lot, especially coming back home and coming back to Canada in the cold weather. You'd want that nice hot meal.
Yeah. And hummus is one of those super versatile products, right? Or ingredients or dishes that can be used as appetizers. But I see in some of your recipes, excuse me, that you are using it as an important ingredient in actually making some main dishes in that, which is not something that I typically would think of. And I'm a huge hummus fan, but I've never thought about incorporating it into main dishes. So tell me a little bit about the recipes and how these recipes come together then from the hummus that you're creating or crafting in your business as well.
So I freestyle a lot. And that's the kind of cool thing about owning your own business. You call the shots, right? It's not like everything's going to be a big hit, but the ones that do are so worth it. So that's really fun. So if you look, I just recently put a cauliflower coated hummus on my website, which was a big hit. And to coat anything with hummus and then roast it, like who knew it would be as good as, yeah, it turned out. So I freestyle a lot. Hummus itself, it's delicious. I'm a huge hummus fan, and I love food, and I try to bring out all the best qualities of it and all the different ways you can use it. Hummus is vegan. It's colorful. It's delicious. It's healthy. It's a good kid food and adult food. There's just so much to it we can play with. Like this is, I'm hoping, just the beginning. There's a lot more to come with it.
Yeah,
These spicy, yeah, these spicy cauliflower wings. Even looking at it, I love it. It's a must for sure.
yeah, I
Uh,
just pulled it up here and shared the screen so everybody can see this incredible dish. And so, like, look at this. It just looks amazing. And so when I first saw this, it looked like it's coated in cheese or something like that, which I was immediately worried about because I can't eat cheese. I don't do dairy. But then obviously in the title, it says vegan. And so I was really excited to hear how you made it look so creamy and cheesy looking. But that's the hummus, right? That you've coated and then baked. And so it looks just absolutely incredible.
it's yeah, hummus solves all your problems. It looks good. That's a spicy one. So you got that that effect on the look there. It looks yeah, really spicy.
Yeah, and so I absolutely love it. I love the hummus, like I said, the cauliflower hot wings, anything spicy is really incredible. And so with your recipes, super simple. In this case, you've got two ingredients. It's your spicy hummus combined with the cauliflower. And so you mix it up and bake it, and that's pretty much that. You're done, right?
It's easy, yeah. Another
And
thing with the recipes, I do try to keep them short and simple. It's busy, right? Mom life is busy for all the mamas out there. So
yeah. And so that's the way that you do all of the recipes then is minimum ingredients, and you're trying to really create that amazing taste and impact from the hummus that you're adding into a lot of these dishes then.
yes, for sure. I try to incorporate my hummus into as much as I can. Not just because I'm a big hummus fan, but it's good for the kids too. I do, yeah, healthy eats is what I'm all about. The healthier they eat, the more hummus they eat, the better for me. We're all happy.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about the hummus journey, I guess. And so we just saw some recipes. So you have your blog, which you post recipes, new recipes on a regular basis over there. And that's going to help build some brand awareness for the hummus brand because you're incorporating the hummus into all those recipes. Now you do have a few very unique hummus flavors. And so this is very different than what people are going to find from the big multinational or national brands out there. So tell us a little bit about the first hummus you created and then how many hummus flavors you have and the direction that you've taken there.
For sure. So yeah, the hummus. So the two things I do, I guess, will branch off. So food blogging, and I have my own line of hummus. So trying to incorporate the two is it's basically what I do. So
Mhm.
with my, I'm very happy to say, very proud to say now you can purchase my hummus all across stores in Alberta. But making it and kind of mastering a formula was very difficult. So I made my first hummus dish, and it's freestyle, right? You just throw in your ingredients and you test taste until it's perfect. So that was great. Kids liked it. And if it was a little bit off sometimes, the kids wouldn't notice. Then I shared with the neighbors and they wanted some. And then friends and friends of friends. And it got big pretty quick. But keeping that recipe was hard. It was hard to do it exactly the same each time. I'll fast forward a few years, then I'll go back. But getting into a kitchen and trying to make this little batch of hummus on a mass production scale and still nail it with all the ingredients and the flavor, like to the T, was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I never thought that creating a recipe would be my biggest obstacle. So that was fun, challenging, but I learned a lot from that. So imagine making like, just pounds and pounds of hummus. And yeah, you had to keep making it until it was perfect. So it was just quite the learning experience, but we nailed it. So that is good. So I did start off with the original flavor. Hummus, like I said, is one of the oldest dishes, a very traditional, popular dish, and now more so in North America. It wasn't as popular here back then, but now it's blowing up. So I'm really happy I do that. So the original one is delicious, right? All your, home cooked flavors and very few ingredients, so you taste it all. So then when I went to feed my kids veggies, I needed them to eat more veggies. So I started incorporating veggies into my hummus. So I do have a very modern, vibrant line of vegan hummus dips. So we'll start with the traditional one, which is where I started. Next up was the sweet potato. So sweet potato hummus, it's delicious, savory, still no sugars or anything in it. Roasted beet. I love beets. I love the color of beets. My kids call it unicorn hummus. It's got all the great properties and nutrients that the beets have in it. Love that one. And spicy. Yeah, I'm a big spicy fan. So then we introduced spicy as well. So currently I have the 4 flavors out there. They're all delicious. Like, if some people are skeptical about looking at a purple hummus, but once you dig in, like, there's no turning back. It's
Yeah.
good.
And the purple hummus, that would be the beet one, is it?
Purple hummus is beet. Yeah.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
sticks out. It's very vibrant on the shelf. Like, you can't miss it. So
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense to me because it's a really like the earthiness of the beets would just go so well, I think, with the hummus, with the chickpeas and that. So I think
that's a
that would
good
be,
one.
yeah. I want to try them all because, yeah, the flavor profile, I would imagine, is just so unique. Now, when it comes to the spicy one, what are you using for the spiciness without giving away the secrets, I guess? But is that more of a Mediterranean spiciness to it, or
Um,
what?
that will come from my just deep Canadian love of hot wings, to be honest.
Okay, so
You
more
have
of
to
a
get,
buffalo kind of flavor.
yeah, like, you don't want like hot where it's just uncomfortable, right? You actually want the flavor in it. So just kind of balancing. Well, the secret is balancing all the red spices in there, right? There's cayennes or red peppers. There's so many red spices, but finding the perfect balance of it, but still kind of, because hummus has lemon, right? So still finding the balance with the acidity to make it not too sour, not too hot, but just a delicious spicy. Um, that was a bit difficult, actually, especially in the kitchen. I don't know how much they like me there anymore, but that was a hard balance to achieve. But once we got it, oh, it was good. You just taste it and you know that, like, bang, you hit it. So
Yeah.
it's just the balance of all the ingredients.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit about from the journey that you took from basically doing some of this testing and making these recipes in your kitchen at home to then migrating over to a commercial kitchen so that you can start to grow the business and make it in volume a bit more. So how long did that take, I guess, for you to get to that point where you were, needing to do it by volume?
So yeah, we started mass producing when um, I'm just trying to think back. So yeah, starting off in my kitchen, things got really busy. I signed with Co-op, which was huge. But I didn't realize signing with Co-op, they own 20 stores in Calgary. So producing for 20 stores, you had to be prepared for it. And I had months to do so. Um, I guess building your kitchen and your team, it's like building a roster for your hockey team, right? You need your teammates there. You need them, everybody to be on the same page. Everybody's got to go in one direction. And if one goes off, that kind of, yeah, it hurts a little bit. So you got to keep everybody together going the same way. So playing around and getting help in the kitchen, finding a kitchen big enough, finding production dates. I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. It's
Yep.
hard, but it takes a lot of multitasking and planning. It was difficult to get everybody on the same schedule. And basically, you're opening a business and opening your doors and wanting a team. And I say team, not staff, because it's really teamwork. You have to do it together. Yeah, and making something work for everybody. So it took a while to get there. I think growth is something we do every day. I don't think that will ever stop. I still learn more and I grow more daily. I guess even talking about this, I'm still learning about myself again.
Okay, so now let's see these labels. I want to hear the story.
I wanted a pretty, pretty dish to stick out right on the shelf. So I was thinking to have it so nicely wrapped around the edges and the top, and even with the beet hummus, have it kind of stick out so you could see it all. So I have an awesome local designer. And he made me these beautiful labels, exactly what I asked for, right?
Yeah.
So then when I get orders of hummus, which is every 2 weeks now, I get them about, in the thousands. So then I take my labels. Now just picture this, about 1,000 of these to take off. And this is every 2 weeks, and wrap it around the container. And once it's wrapped, then we got to stamp it and date it for the batch number that it is.
Oh,
Well, that takes up so much time. So I went shopping actually just recently and looked at all these containers, and I'm the only one that does it this way. So either they're big companies that have it pre-printed, like the sour cream container, or they're just a tiny sticker that just sticks on the side. But nobody does what I do, and I know why now. I wish somebody told me that before I ordered like 50,000 of these, but I'm going through them, but I'm going to change my my labels once again.
yeah. So once you get through the backlog of inventory that you have there, then it'll be a revamp of it to something a little easier for the production process.
Yeah. So now you can see why I say I work really, really hard on these. I wish I didn't do it that way, but it's good to learn. I guess everything that comes out of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a learning experience. So I'll use these and then we're going to change.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for our audience to hear that as well, because some of the things that we do, we maybe don't think through or don't know to have the foresight to think through what the implications of that's going to be, right? So if we've never been in a situation where we've designed labels and that, well, if we're thinking of the smaller batch where you're doing a couple hundred of them, not a big deal. But as soon as you start really ramping up your production, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. For sure. And so then you got to start thinking in terms of maybe even automating and that at some point too, which will probably change up the label as well as the packaging a bit. So yeah, good lessons there. So, okay, so let's get into the marketing a little bit. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a good brand out there that is going to be recognizable so that people are picking yours off the shelf instead of some competitors. So tell me your strategy that you have in place right now in terms of marketing the brand so that you can drive those sales in store.
So what I'm doing, I'm going to kind of back it up just a couple seconds and go to, like, when you have an image in your mind, whether it's my marketing image or labels, something in your mind can look so good in real life, but also you understand the challenges of it. So I'll go back saying for the label, as pretty as it was in my head, I'm happy I still did it so I could physically see it because you learn from it. But that also did push me to kind of go around and do some more shopping and picking up now on the marketing end of things, seeing how other people do market and what works and what doesn't work. And now I'm understanding why a lot of it goes and doesn't go.
Yep.
So what I'm trying to do for my marketing, it is hard. It's really hard building your own name. Like I remember trying to get in my first store, like Mother what? I'm like, okay, we'll just say like I'm Nada. Or it kind of went on like the hummus girl. You make your own reputation, and that's good and bad, right? But it's like if you're always passionate about it, you're going to keep driving right till the end. So just enjoy the whole journey you're on. So playing with marketing, yeah, I'm trying to grow. I play with social media. It's hard to keep up because social media is so ever changing.
Yep.
I am trying to grow my Instagram. I'd like to. So when you hit, I believe it's 10K followers, you can just do like a swipe up for this recipe. So it's going to help me build my audience, my supporters. And that's the big thing, support, right? I wouldn't be where I am today without the current support I have. So I got to say thank you to everyone that does buy the hummus, that does follow me, shares my recipes.
Yep.
And that's why it's growing still. It's because the word of mouth. And this year is a very unique year. So depending on how you take it, it was hard to grow, but a lot of people relied more virtually on social media or anything online, or that's how we communicated. That's how we stayed alive. So utilizing and using these new tools to the max, especially during times like this, it's always challenging. There's always more to learn. There's always things I want to still learn. But growing and growing and growing, it's hard. It's fun. It's necessary. There's a lot to it, but it's, I think we're all looking for growth and support to stay, to keep your head above to keep your head above chickpeas is what I say. So,
yeah, For sure. So then the social media you're using to drive traffic back to the website for the recipes, so they can download or view the recipes and then start using your product, obviously, in those recipes, which are incorporated into each one of them. And so just that, if we can get adoption of people using the recipes, that's going to drive sales in those local retailers then. So that would be the primary strategy, right?
Yeah, and more so for brand awareness.
Yeah.
I didn't invent Instagram. I wish I did, but I didn't. But I did make my website. So once you go there is where you learn more about me, the food, the culture, and the love behind it all.
Yeah.
So it's my website that I'd want people ideally to engage in.
Yeah.
And then when I have new locations or new flavors or new recipes, that's where it's all usually announced, right? That's where I keep it up to date.
Yeah.
So that part, yeah, so it's growing, I guess, my online traffic and my own audience. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I have 4 kids. You'll know that I sell at this specific store over here. You'll know what my favorite flavor of hummus is.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, just kind of my audience, my support group. The people cheering in your corner is what I'm trying to grow.
Yeah. I'm just going to share my screen again here so we can see your Instagram channel here. And so, like you said, some images of the kids and yourself. And so you're incorporating the lifestyle of, being a mother, busy mother at home, making these incredible, tasty treats and nutritious meals for your kids. And so I think that appeals very much to that Instagram audience. And you've got a good following started. And so now it's just a matter of growing that and expanding it. I do know that you, on your website, when I was over there initially, there's a little pop-up that pops up and asks if I am interested in joining your newsletter. So do you send out much in the way of email communication to those people who are on your list?
I definitely try to keep up. So if you went and subscribed and took the time out of your day to do so and to engage with me, I do engage back. So I will send you either a hello or a good recipe or some recipes that aren't always uploaded to the site that I just share.
Yeah.
So I keep up as much as I can. But if I ever don't, it's because there is a lot of social media channels. There's a lot of online ways to market yourself, and trying to find a perfect foundation where I tie them all together gets a little bit tricky. And I know people outsource for that. So I'm still playing around with it. But if you do put your email in there, I'll email you and I'll say hello.
Yeah. And so it sounds like it's not necessarily regularly, scheduled emails that go out.
No.
And so it's a little bit more ad hoc than is it? So when you come up with a new blog post with a recipe, do you always send that out via email then to those who are on the list? Or again, is it more ad hoc? If you have time in your day, you
Give or take. Like if it's like a golden recipe I want to share, yeah, you'll get it. And a lot of the good ones too, I will put on social media, like, hey, new recipe, check it out. So I put it out there. Yeah, when there's something like those cauliflower wings, yeah, I love those. So I will push those and I will put it out a few times. If I'm really passionate about it, you'll get it on your end.
Okay. So what I would recommend there, just when it comes to business success, it usually is driven by your list of your customers, right? Or those people who are passionate about your products. And because you're not retailing it yourself, you're going through retailers, so you're wholesaling it. You have to approach it in a slightly different way than what, say, an e-commerce operation might do it. And so I love what you're doing in terms of using social media to build some brand awareness, pushing those recipes out, pushing out your brand and this, that's wrapped around being a mother, a busy mother, and the great food and everything that we mentioned. And so that's really good. And I think that you should continue to do that because you can build a tribe of other mothers really quickly around that. So to do that, I would invest a little bit of money into promoting those Instagram posts a little bit. So when you have a killer recipe like you have with the cauliflower, I think it would be a good idea to just, you throw $50 behind it in terms of just boosting it to a very specific demographic. So mothers with maybe young children who are busy and maybe some other things that that you could find from an interest base within the ad platform on Instagram. And so then you're going to see the recipe show up, or the images, the posts show up in front of more individuals who maybe are going to be like, ah, that's great, who've never heard of you, who haven't basically organically bumped into you and your posts on Instagram. And so that'll just really increase your reach really quickly. And like you said, getting to that goal where you can get to 10,000, so you can do that swipe up for the recipe, that's going to be really critical. And you'll see a big boost in traffic as soon as you get to that level for sure. So the more you can focus on getting there quicker, it's probably going to be better for your brand. Now, that shouldn't be the end all though. So doing stuff in social media is great, but one of the challenges with social media is you don't own that platform. And so Facebook, who owns Instagram, they could change the rules. They could ban your account for no particular reason. And so there's clients who have had in the past who have had some situations where they come to us after their account has been shut down incorrectly. And so then it's a long process to try to get Instagram to turn back on and so on. And if they are relying on that as being their traffic source, then it could really disrupt the course of their business if they're down on Instagram essentially for a few weeks or months or whatever. So what we encourage people to do is really focus on building a list that you own. And that's where I love your newsletter list that you have. And so what I would suggest is that you really double down on creating value for the people who sign up. And so sending them out recipes on a very regular basis, communicating to them with those great, incredible recipes with some great images and so on is going to be fantastic, because those are going to be useful for those people who have signed up, because they're getting what they're expecting, right? From that is some great new recipes and advice on how to cook good, healthy meals at home on a busy schedule. And so I would use social media to drive the traffic to your website, and then use the website to deliver those recipes, but also to get people signed up. And then I would start to put in play a email strategy where you can very regularly be sending out emails to that database and creating the value for those people to stay engaged with your brand. And so you're talking about the recipes, you're also promoting new locations as new locations come on stream. And you can geographically target your link, your list as well. So for instance, if there's a new store that opens in Edmonton, you can send that email information out to all of the Edmonton people who have signed up. And so that's really useful in terms of keeping it very relevant to the audience, because the people in Calgary don't necessarily need to know that. And now, having said that, you might still actually announce that to the people in Calgary, just because they obviously have friends and family just up the road in Edmonton, right? So they might then share some of that information as well. So it's not necessarily don't do it, but if you wanted to categorize your audiences, it's a great way to do it within the lists as well. So it's more pertinent.
Can I just say thank you? Thank you so much for that, because often a lot of us are just kind of go-getters, do it yourself, and we know it all. We do not. So it's nice to outsource to the pros and learn and take this advice and experience and turn it into something else. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all. Now, when it comes to your website, with the recipes that you have there, the way that you have designed your website looks great. I like the template that you're using there. It's people can find the recipes really easily. At the top, you have all of the most current ones, right? So it's boom right there in front of you. You can search on it. You have, the tab that's about you. I love what you're doing on all that. I'm just going to share my screen again so that people can see that as I'm scrolling through it here. So this header up here at the top where you can flip through the different recipes, very visual, very beautiful. The incorporation of your coloring throughout is really great. So I think you've done a really good job here. I love the sidebar where you have easy connection to the social channels. You have the sign up as well. The only thing that I would suggest is that you speak a little bit more to what they're going to get when they sign up, when they submit their email. So you want to encourage that a little bit more when you're doing that list building. So that would be really the only change that I would recommend. So it just converts maybe a little bit more of that traffic into subscribers to it. So I'm just going to click on this chocolate chickpea cookie dough, which sounds amazing as well.
That's vegan as well, so
This is great. I can't wait to try some of these recipes, because this hits so many of the things that I absolutely love, and it works for my diet very well. So this is going to be really fun. So I love down here at the bottom where you're like, love this post, get more of them delivered. And so that language is really good for that, and have that sign up there is good. A little bit about yourself. You already have your website already on here. So, but that's probably because of the template that you're using. So that's fine. It doesn't detract or anything. And then I like this, having the additional recipes down there. This advertisement is, so you're employing AdSense to, gain a little bit of a few cents here, a few cents there from people who are coming to your website. I don't know if that is the best strategy, because for your overall brand growth, the amount of revenue that you're going to make off of these little ad placements is pretty minor. And what you run the risk of is people clicking away from your website then. And so what you typically want to do from an SEO perspective, as well as then just overall engagement level, is to have them spend more time, or as much time as they possibly can, on your website. And so it's important to have them going to the places where you want them to go to, as opposed to off on advertisers' sites. So you might want to reconsider that strategy. Totally up to you. I understand that that is generating a little bit of revenue for you, though. So it can be tempting to keep that on. And the other thing that you haven't talked about much to me here today, and I didn't see it much in the posts and stuff, is you have your recipes, and then you have some, your recipe book, and then you also have some of your merchandise as well. And so mixing some of that into some of your social posts as well as into the newsletters would be good, because that's going to drive some additional revenue, and probably much more than what you'd get out of those advertisements. And so I would recommend just focusing on that just slightly more.
that sounds good. Yeah, my merch, I almost thought that I forgot about it, but that was fun.
Yeah, I love some of the the slogans that you've got on it and so on. It's good, it's creative, it's fun, and it really aligns well with your brand, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, do you have any other questions with regard to marketing at all?
So I guess marketing's ever changing. I talk about that in, I guess, the social media world. So growth and engagement, you touched a bit on it, and there's some work I got to do on my end to get to where I want to be. I guess any advice on running the current platforms I have? Should I outsource? And keep in mind with this as well, the revenues I currently make, I put back into my product and into either redesigning labels or whatnot.
Yep.
So I should be able to put more towards a marketing budget, but when I'm on my own marketer, I don't put a big emphasis on that. So outsourcing to the pros.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to?
Yeah. So the big question is, I think, is for any small business owner, any entrepreneur, is at what point is it too difficult for you to be wearing all the hats, right? And so when do you start outsourcing some of that? On the marketing front, I mean, we work with clients as their outsourced partner, managing their social, managing their marketing campaigns, managing advertising campaigns and website development and all those different things as well. And so, from a bias on my point of view is probably the sooner is better than later, typically speaking, because we're going to help you grow your business faster, right? And so there's that consideration. But you have to be careful because it's about cash flow. And so I'm very practical when I work with my clients on that aspect. I mean, the reality of it is that you only have so much cash flow coming into your business, and marketing is an investment. It should be paying for itself and making you money if it's done right. And so you have to be careful about who you're partnering with, that they are very focused on the bottom line of your business. So on the sales line, on the conversion line, as opposed to just getting you, lots of views and lots of clicks and so on. So because it has to drive revenue is the key thing there. So what I would recommend is that if you are at that place where you're like, okay, there's too many hats I'm wearing. I can't do it all. I know there's potential to do more sales if I just had a better strategy. Then I think it's a good point then at that time to start talking to some marketing companies, finding out what they might be able to do for you and what those costs might be, and then start trying to project some of that revenue and see where that's going to be at in terms of the cost versus the benefit, and at what level of additional business you're going to need to have in order to break even on those marketing costs. And so we really focus on, delivering more customers for clients. That's our tagline. But that's really what we're hyper focused in on doing. And so we are very careful to make sure that the revenue growth is there. It's tracking along with the expense that our marketing efforts are coming with, right? So that's our costs, but also then the ad costs if you're doing any ad spend as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be,
Yes.
my way of kind of addressing that a little bit. One thing that I would say on the market kind of expansion and trying to grow, another quick tip would be, for instance, if you have co-op, another store opens up, or you're going into a new geographic region of the province, or you're bringing in another retailer. We talked about maybe Friesen Brothers being one in a previous conversation that you might want to reach out to because they really support local, and they have stores and locations in which geographically you're not currently there. So one thing that would be good from a marketing standpoint when you're going into those meetings is to say, we intend to market our brand within those geographical regions so that we're driving traffic into those stores to purchase the product as well. So it's not just you guys having to promote it. We are going to be there with you. It's a partnership. And the way that you would do that in social media is you would promote some of those recipes to just those geographical regions. So for instance, I know Friesen Brothers, they have a store out in Hinton, Alberta. So if they were carrying it in Hinton, Alberta, what you would do then is you would throw just a few dollars, it doesn't have to be a lot, to reach more people on Instagram who are in Hinton specifically. And so that can help then drive more traffic in, and in the store, obviously you're starting to see some sales immediately, and you'll see then the pickup from more of the locations then. So that's a good strategy to build your sales in those stores.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I guess geographically pinpointing the consumers I'm looking for. It's a hard bet, like, to physically be there. Like, I'm building my physical presence, but also trying to build my online presence. So finding a happy balance. It's got its ups and downs, but yeah, I'm trying to balance the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. And being a mother of four and everything else that goes along with that. And you said you have boys who are in hockey, and so you're running around to the rinks and everything else. Like it's amazing what you've accomplished so far. And so you should be extremely proud of where you've taken things. And then you're probably at a stage now where you really starting to see that, okay, there's just so many opportunities out there that I just can't take advantage of right now because I'm wearing too many hats. I just can't do it. And so, building a team around you that can help with that, whether that's outsourced people or whether that's part-time staff or whatever, is going to definitely help you take it to that next level. And your product, by the looks of things, by the sounds of things, is definitely an exceptional product. And so carving out that shelf space for that local brand in the category of hummuses, and very unique hummuses.
Yeah. Here we go. So you'll be able to see it in person, but
Yeah.
all right. So you got the gluten-free, no preservatives. It is amazing. I put it on there, and it's a vegan product and crazy good for you too. So I can't wait till you, dip in.
Yeah, I totally am going to dip in. And I encourage everybody who's listening to try this out. So a lot of our audience is here locally in Edmonton. So just a reminder, it's in the co-op, but only in the one location, I think, at this point, which is the one over on Lessard, I think, right?
But more to come, definitely more to come, and more inner cities. So please stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Nada. I really appreciate you taking the time today to share your entrepreneurial story with us. I think that you are going to have a huge amount of success with these recipes, especially during this COVID time when people are spending more time at home doing their own cooking. You make it easy and you make it tasty and delicious. And so I think that the more we can get the word out about this, the more these sales are just going to completely, the product's going to fly off the shelves. So work on the distribution, and you're going to be fantastic. I know it. So thank you so much, Nada.
We are going to rock it. Thank you so much. This was awesome. And thank you. Thanks for including me. And this is looking forward to what's to come.
Okay, great. Everybody, if you want to check out more episodes of Amplify Your Business, head over to our website, amplimedia.com/amplify, and you're going to see an archive there of a bunch of different interviews that I've been doing with entrepreneurs. And they share their stories, but we also share some great marketing advice with them. So check out the archive, and we'll see you in the next episode.